Hi and hello watch fans, and welcome back to the glass igloo outside of the Geneva Watch Days 2025 pavilion. I'm joined by my friend Henrik from Micromilspec, which is based all the way up in Norway, somewhere I like to spend a great deal of time, as you probably know. Henrik, you're the first man that's dared wear a jacket in the igloo today.
So let's just establish some facts. Was this your idea, Rob? Like doing a hot igloo?
Was it my idea? Look, we first came to the concept through our partnership with Time to Watchers in April, and they were the ones that provided us with what has now become the iconic glass igloo, or glass onion, as we say interchangeably, however we feel. And we were warm in April, but we had a little bit more shade, I think, from the trees. To be fair, there's nothing we can do with the placement of it, because the sun's going to get us wherever we are, you know.
Of course, that's why you closed it completely off, because of the sound.
So we've draped everything over here, and we've closed the doors to try and deaden the sound outside. You know, we're making notes of how we can get better and improve everything, the quality, the safety of our guests. But no, I mean, we're very grateful for Geneva Watch Days providing us with this and for partnering with us officially for this event. And it's great that all of the guests have braved the extremely high temperatures. We don't know how hot it is in here, but it's well over 40 degrees, isn't it?
It's quite nice if you like it.
If you like it warm, it's very nice. Now, you are an incredible person. You've had, what a way to start. Yeah. No, you're a great guy who's done a lot in a short space of time. You make things happen. You had a career before watchmaking, and you did very well, and you came to watchmaking with this desire to start something very novel in a part of the world that, although now is getting a bit of a reputation for very cool, tough, well-built watches, was not really thought of in the first thought when people say...
You're talking about Norway.
I'm talking about Norway. Yeah, I'm talking about Norway, yeah. So... the Scandinavian game is really growing. There's a lot of cool stuff in Norway, Sweden, Denmark coming up, and it's wonderful to see. But your personal journey is really interesting. We were here together, and as you reminded me yesterday, shockingly, for the last time we actually saw each other in person, 5 years ago, on the night that Geneva Watch Days kicked off for the very first time.
True.
Back then, you were here to gather information, to meet people, to get a feel for the watchmaking industry, the lay of the land. And since then, you have started Micromilspec, and it has exploded, really. It's a hugely popular brand amongst watch enthusiasts. You make peerless tool watches at preposterously competitive prices. We'll talk about that specifically when we talk about certain models. But you've now been here for 2 years as an exhibitor. This is your second year at Geneva Watch Days. I'm going to shut up. That's the longest, most fawning intro I've given so far. I'm obviously awake for once, which is great, despite 2 hours of sleep. Why don't you tell us about that journey, start in 2020, your impressions of the first fair, and how it's changed now as you're a part of it?
Well, thank you, and thank you for the intro. You know, to me, it's like a baby, so I can just talk and talk and talk, so I'm happy that you can put some keywords out there. No, you're absolutely right. I was here in 2020, I believe. They kicked it off. It was, as a lot of people mentioned, due to COVID restrictions. But you know, watch people really want to meet. They like the touch and feel of coming together and seeing new novelties. And I couldn't even dream of having a watch being released at Geneva Watch Days. But obviously, when I saw all of the brands on the wall and the logos, it was just a dream to, at some point, maybe get your name up there.
Well, it's up there now.
It's up there now. So, since then, 2020, we've done almost 40 custom military projects.
Mm-hmm.
And really what we released last year is a combination of all of them, like the best treats, the best specs, the feedback they received from the field. And that became the Millgraph. And... which has been, it's basically become Micromilspec, the Millgraph. So we meet people that know the Millgraph, but I've never heard of Micromilspec. So I guess that's a good thing.
It's quite an indication of a watch's popularity and how a single release can kind of reframe a brand in the mind of collectors and consumers. Because, funnily enough, before you, we had Xavier from Chapek in the studio.
Yes. Lovely guy.
And Chapek went through a kind of similar Eureka release, shall we say. It's a good term, I never used that before, with the Antarctique, where they've been plugging away working really hard, doing
Yeah.
loads of great work behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, but not in front of the scene for many years. And then Antarctic put them on the map. They became the it brand. They were the most talked about, most like exciting brand in the market in those years, right around the start of Geneva Watch Days, actually. And the Milgraph for you has done exactly that. It is a beacon. It attracts people to Micromilspec. And I have to say, I was present during the development of it. You know, I knew the images of the dials when I first sketched up and what was coming, and I remember thinking this is going to be pretty good. If they get the execution of this right, it's going to be top draw. And I saw it in hand for the first time in November last year at Watch Pro in London, and I was talking to Alex, and he said, "How much do you think it is?"
Yeah.
I was turning it over in my hands, and this is a blasted titanium, beautiful function, Le Jouperet powered chronograph. Great quality rubber strap, brilliant buckle. And I said, I reckon about 7,000, roughly. And I'm not normally that far wrong.
But this time...
this time I messed up. It's half the price.
Yeah,
that's a preposterous. I said at the top, preposterous is the word. It's so competitive. And what I mean by that is it's tough for your competition. Like, it's not competitive. Your Milgraph has won the race. It's competitive because it throws a marker down. It throws a gauntlet down to all of the people making chronographs out of titanium, powered by Le Jouperet. At that price point, people are up in arms. What can they do? And you've also managed to establish some potential for retail. So talk to us about the development of a Milgraph. How long did it take? How tiring and much of a headache was it?
Yeah, no, I walk out, around with a constant headache, so it's never really gotten off my back. But no, so I think one of a big part of the development and also the release of the Milgraph is that obviously we're named Micromilspec, which represents in a way our customers. The company is not named Henrik Rye, and I'm not the one that's going to do an evolution or revolution of a design. I don't have those ambitions whatsoever. What we really want to do is represent the people that we speak with every day, listen to their feedback, and bring that to the market. And a lot of the people that we work with and our customers, they are serving in the military. So obviously, whatever we release needs to be obtainable for our core customers. So we didn't really look at any pricing. We didn't see how many margins we can put into this. We didn't compare it to what else was out there. We spoke to our customers. Do you want? And obviously, they came up, with the majority of the spec. We worked a lot with the special forces. That's why we did the destro. Crown position, so that they love push-ups, so they're not gonna get
a push-up crown,
a push-up,
not a push-in. Wow, that's nice.
And they, just small hints and nudges to the military. They, for example, they operate often their watch with a glove or equipment. So when you use a glove, you would have to have pretty deep indents in the bezel to be able to grip it. So that's why we have these big indents into the vessel, and they hate instructions manuals. They just hit the road running. So that's why we put on the dial. It says hours, minutes, seconds next to each of the chrono eyes, and they love titanium. Like that's their that's their thing. So I'm honored to be able to sort of release this, and most of all that it's people like it. It's just beyond what I could ever hope for.
Production wise, it's not, well, there are limited edition versions of it. Recently you launched one with my friend and colleague James Thompson, Black Badger.
Mr. James.
It's very successful. Beautiful white dial interpretation with an orange chapter ring. Was it an orange 20?
Yeah, orange. Yeah.
That's stunning. Absolutely love it. So congrats to you and to him for that release and successful partnership. But the core model is limited in production per year. You do like batches, right? And how many pieces do you make per year?
Last year we did 50.
Okay.
This year we did 75. And it sort of depends more on. So obviously, if you want to, you can put a zero behind a production. There's no real limits to that if you want to put in the cash and whatever, if you have investors and so on. But the thing is, we're a really small company. And all of the millgraphs that we sold this year, they were sold before the release.
Okay.
Which means that we've spoken and had a personal interaction with 75 people, and we want to maintain that quality of service and also be available. And that bandwidth is not there whatsoever within the company. So that's why we're keeping our productions limited. But also, it's just so common that you see something that's working, you just want to sort of scale up in the atmosphere, and there's this really unsexy element to this, I think. It's just good enough, and we're happy about that.
It's not the watchmaking way, and you got to grips with that, because it's a strange culture, watchmaking. It has its own rhythms and its own sensibilities that without being in it, you can't really predict. A lot of the things that we do, maybe unsurprisingly, because the product itself doesn't make sense. They don't make sense. The strategies that you certainly can't apply rationale in the way you would like to the industry. It's there's a lot of touch, a lot of feeling. Spreadsheet managers that may have great success in other more consumer product environments don't fare well here. They come thinking that they go into a company and they go, what the hell? Like, this is crazy. Like,
it makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense. They're like, why haven't you made 10 times as many watches? You've got all these customers. And they can do it and they'll blow up a brand.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what you're trying to do here. You're trying to sort of protect the brand. You're trying to like maintain that personal touch. And the price of it also, I guess, comes from the fact that you're running a really lean operation.
Absolutely.
A small team that you trust implicitly. Everybody, you've got an incredible team, by the way.
Thank you.
The skills and the versatility of each member of your team is worth its weight in gold. And I think like if we were to aggregate brands by team members and their abilities across the industry, you'd probably be in the top 10. I think.
I appreciate that.
No, it's absolutely true.
Yes.
You've got Theo, of course, like or Theo. How do we say? Because I've been living in Germany too long.
Whatever you want, he will answer your call.
Probably in any language you choose to mention it to him as well. And I mean, he had years with IWC.
Yeah,
and he was like so visible in the communication side of things. And he's an effervescent character.
Yeah,
a character is the word.
He is absolutely a character in line with Black Badger. Yeah.
You have a certain type of person, right? You have a certain character profile. How many people are there working for the brand now?
Oh, we're 6.
6, okay.
Yeah.
And is the intention to add any more to that as you look to expand further around the world of retail? No.
So we've come to the conclusion that, and obviously, like you're into, like you said, there's you can't put that much rationale to watchmaking. And the fact is that nobody needs what we do. Like, nobody needs a timepiece these days. And if you're really honest about that fact, then what your biggest job is actually to entertain people because they love watches. And that's what we try to do here at Geneva Watch Days, is actually to entertain people. Just like people love a good movie, a good song, a good show. And I mean, a lot of the brands here, they do really understand that element of what we're doing. And that's also why we don't really want to add to our team, because we got everything we need in-house, and that's more than enough.
And we had the great...
I have to even take off my watches now.
Take off
so
the watches and share some of them with me.
Bring watches, you said. I took all of them.
All 4, wow. Pass me the Milgraph, would you?
Yes.
Let's have a look at that on the camera, thank you.
Sorry.
So we had the great Patrick Hoffman on earlier, and he has a motto, sustainable and scalable.
Yeah.
And that's what he's talking about. And you have, I think with your very tight-knit team of 6, you've mastered the sustainability, and you are keeping a firm handle on how much you scale and how quickly you scale. Do you intend to grow production across all lines in the future, or are you very happy where you are, and is the business making money, putting food on the table, that kind of thing, as it is?
Well, that's always a stretch because, when you come into the industry, it's cash flow and sales are not the same.
Right.
It's something you constantly work on improving. And I do think that there is an element of when you scale. So if you want to do, for example, a retail store, that retail store is going to cost you, or if you want to do a brand store, it's going to cost you £100,000 a year,
Mm-hmm.
which in my head means I have 100,000 problems every year. And so you really want to do things the way they are progressing by itself. And that's also sort of a comfortable way of running a company. And then obviously putting food on the table is a big part of that. But once you've met those basic needs and, be able to come here and meet you, the rest of the people here, it's just such an amazing experience.
How is it different in 2025 to 2020 as you remember it? Because, of course, back in the early days, there were 15 brands showing. It's almost unfathomable how quickly it's grown. Last year, there was around 50, maybe a tick above 50. This year, 66.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's, Geneva Watch Days is trying to be open.
Yes.
But also controlled.
Yes.
We've spoken with many people about this, obviously, throughout the fair, because that's what we're really here to discuss, like its impact on the industry and the role it plays within it, and how it's repositioning itself slightly as more of a cultural event with these hands-on activities and more tours being organised for people to go to see the manufacturers themselves, and distinguishing it from Watches and Wonders, which took the place of Baselworld really as the preeminent trade fair. And now you're here for the second year in a row, and I think that you very much extol the soul of this event. You do things the right way. Is it your preference that it doesn't grow any further, or would you like to see it reach 100 brands one day, or do you foresee problems and a lack of direction if it were to grow so much?
It's a very good question. So, you have to have the right spirit to appreciate this, and also meet with the people that actually come here, because this is obviously not Watches and Wonders. Like, this is like the Cannes Film Festival for watches. It's very different. It's like informal. People here go out and shake hands with all of the CEOs from the brands, and they're all available throughout the day, or maybe all of them, but you meet quite a few of them, and if it expands, I think we will be able to include more companies, more type of or brands, I would say, but it's a small place.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers, I think we've grown from 3,000 people the first year, and now we're predicting maybe 15,000 visitors. So we have already, before we come to Geneva Watch Days, we have booked in over 100 meetings and touch points with people. So obviously we can't take more of, or our bandwidth is small. So in one way, it helps with more brands, because you divide the crowd by more contributors, which I think is a good thing also for the people visiting, that they can be in a room and it's not packed, for example. Yeah.
I mean, that's a very good point, because if we had 15 brands to begin with, 66 now, it's increased by fourfold, just about. But from 3,000 visitors to 15,000 visitors is a fivefold increase. So it's even larger in terms of like the mass of people, or morass, by the end of this session, as we're melting in here, descending on Geneva in 1 week.
Yeah.
My colleague David Vaucher, co-host on the Real Time show, arrived last night. First time he'd ever been to Geneva. And he was like, wow, this is like a bustling, diverse city.
The city is involved with the event,
But I said to him, this isn't real Geneva, right? You come outside of Fair Week, like it's much quieter. There's not these like bikes going around. There's not so many people from so many different backgrounds on the street. But it's a huge strain on the infrastructure of a very localized area. We're working mostly between Hotel d'Angleterre, Hotel Wilson, Beau Rivage, and the Pavilion. And of course, you got the guys in the old town, so occasionally you get to hop over the lake and go see them and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think from a journalist's perspective, you tend to deprioritize that because you want to be here, because this is where the hub is happening. Interesting that you say by having more brands, you would split the attention maybe, so you wouldn't have more weight on your small team to have to deal with. However, as a journalist, your aim when you come to these things is to try and see everything.
Yes.
Which is, I know from experience it's just not possible.
Yeah.
If we had more brands, we'd have to increase the length of the whole thing.
To stay.
Yeah.
And then you need to get that from your from your magazine.
Exactly.
Which is a tough one. No, we actually discussed this on the committee. Because if we're able to increase with members, we need either more days, or we need to make sure that journalists are able to stay here for a longer time. But this is a decentralized event. So if that's a problem, obviously it's because you have a level of demand and interest in your brand. So a lot of the brands, they host events before Geneva Watch Days in Geneva. So before we joined on the ceremony here on the 4th, where are we?
Scarlett's here.
Hello, Scarlett. No, we had an event and we met with 30 journalists. So in that way, they saw everything before. They have obviously the press release and that was again super informal, easy thing, and it didn't put strain on our suite for the rest of the week. So it's you can manage either way. Yeah.
It's a smart move. I mean, if there was like mass coordination between the brands to sort of, half of them go before, half of them go after, extend their stay a couple of days either way, and then specifically work with journalists who are close to those brands. That might be a way to kind of, strike a middle ground, perhaps, where you don't need to expand the fair per se, but you expand the things around it.
Yeah.
I honestly need to get you on the show for a full episode in a cool, air-conditioned environment. We're going to knock it on the head because we're both about to liquefy. But before we go, could you pass me the world timer?
Oh yeah, yes please.
I just want to show this one on the camera because this is one of the novelties, right?
This is our novelty.
This is the news. I saw a video of Justin Hast, who was a guest on the show recently, experimenting with the click of the bezel.
Yeah.
And Justin's got a great face. Expressing that, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. He made that sound and I was like, yeah, I know what that feels like.
I don't think, if you've ever met a bad liar, Justin is just honest.
He's a great guy, great journalist, and a big fan of what you're doing. I can see why. Once again, the build quality of Micromilspec is second to none. Their price is extremely competitive. It has an exclusivity, which is not something that you really push because it's not really the core tenet of the brand, but it's something I think that collectors do appreciate, and that human touch that you're able to bring by being so tight and so lean as a team and so directly in contact with your customers is something that everyone really appreciates. So thank you for being a positive contributor to
Thank you so much.
Right, we're going to knock it on the head. We're going to go get some fresh air. We'll be back far too soon for our liking, to be honest, in around 20 minutes with another live stream.
What about the fan, mate? Like, could you...
The sound, mate. You can't know the microphones don't like it. No. We'll figure it out for next year for sure. Please join us again. Like, subscribe, comment, follow The Real Time Show. We'll be back with you very, very soon.
Thank you.